Welcome back, everybody. Got a little bit of time on my hands, so pulled the Liberty into the garage. We're going to do rear brakes on it, put a locker in it. And I'll show you that process. All right, we got it jacked up and supported on jack stands. I know, these are the Harbor Freight jack stands, but they're the early ones, and I haven't had any problems with them. And I've got them all the way down anyway. They can't fall if they're already down. Got one of the wheels off. Before I pop the other one off, I'm gonna go ahead and get the grease draining out of the rear end. Moment of truth. Let's see how bad it is. Red RTV tells me someone's been in it at one time, but maybe not. We'll see. That don't look horrible. Got one bolt in it. We'll let it drain for now. Lift the gears here in a little bit. Don't hear any whining come from the rear end, so I'd say the gear's probably in good shape. Get the cover off. Everything looks pretty good. Nice even wear pattern on the ring gear. The spider gears don't look hurt. I'd say this thing's had a pretty easy life before I got it. Definitely hasn't been abused or anything. Get the other wheel off, get the axle slid out. We'll get on with it. Before we can slide the axles out, we have to slide them in. That means taking out this carrier pin. This bolt comes out, pin comes out, you shove the axles in, and you take out the C-clips. I don't think, yeah, there you go, you can see them in there. Then you slide the axles out, and then we'll do the locker install. Before we can shove the axles in, we need to take the brake caliper bracket off, pop everything else off that needs to come off underneath here. That way we can shove them in. Just a couple bolts. Ain't too bad. We'll get on with it. Two 18mm bolts take off the caliper bracket. E-brake don't look too bad. One thing I don't understand about Chrysler is why did they crimp the hard line into the rubber hose? You literally got to cut the line and flare it to put it on the new hose. Man, just making it hard on the normal guy. Alright, carrier pin's out. It don't look too bad. Don't have any spots in it. Like I said, I don't think this thing's been hurt. I don't think it's been abused at all. I think it's had a pretty easy life before I got it. Locker we're getting ready to install is a Spartan Locker. Pretty straightforward design. I like them. Used these in the Aussie Locker, the Locker brand before. This one comes with the new carrier pin and bolt. We're getting ready to assemble the halves. It's pretty straightforward. These got a design that makes them a little bit easier to install than the Locker brand. Push your alignment pins in. Then push this pin in. And it holds your alignment pins in. And I like that quite a bit. Makes it easier to hold everything together when you're trying to put it in there. Well, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but I'm having some issues with Spartan Locker. The box was open when I got it. Someone had it out of the package before, and I figured maybe they ordered a 29 spline instead of a 27. But having some setup issues with it, things ain't wanting to fit right. So we'll check the backlash. Looks like we're about 8.5, maybe 8.25, 8 1/3, something like that. Anyway, just shade over 8. But it's gonna have to come out. get this problem solved. Got the carrier and ring gear out. Just so happened, I had an older Chrysler 8 1/4 carrier. Put the locker in there and it fit great. Well, it wouldn't fit in the new carrier. So I got the measuring. As you can see, I got it written down on there. This one, 2 7/8. The locker fit in there great. Well, this one's 4 thousandths over. It wouldn't fit. Well, what is going on? Took me a minute to find it. But this won't seat all the way against this side. As you can see, got about 100 thousandths gap. It's hitting the center of the carrier inside there. This one here fits nice and flush. So that's where my problem is. I would change carriers, but I'd have to change the bearings. This carrier sat around the garage a while. But regardless, to modify this, it was going to have to come out of the Jeep, make it easier, and keep all the metal shavings out of the bearings, file or grind one way or another. I'll get to fit. Problem solved. A little bit of work to die grinder. Got the clearance we need. Time to clean it all up, put it back together. Just so happened to be test fitting some more parts before I put it back together, make sure everything was going to go smooth. And the C-clips didn't fit in the C-clip holders very good. Where these are punched out, they had a bevel on the edge of them. They wouldn't fit in there. So I took flap disc, cleaned up both of them, they fit in there nice. That would have been a pain to have to take it all back apart again. Glad I caught that beforehand. So check all your stuff before you put one of these together. So far, no two of them's been the same. Bench assembly went good. The center gap is supposed to be between 140 and 190 thousandths, I believe. And we've got about 145, 150 thousandths. So, I think we're going to call it good. Get her put back together. Carrying ring gear's back in. Caps are torqued down. Yeah, it feels like about 8.5 thousandths. Nah, I'm just kidding. I put the dial indicator on it. We're at 8 thousandths. Lost 0.5 thousandths, but I doubt we're going to make any noise. We'll get the rest of this thing put back together. Locker's in. Carrier pin retaining bolt is in and torqued. Everything operates as it should. We're going to put a good cover on it, get it filled up with some good gear oil, get the rest of her put back together. I'd say this will be a night and day improvement. Diff cover's on. Got her filled up with some good gear oil and some Lucas oil stabilizer. We're going to get the brakes buttoned up and get her back together. Got the old brake hose cut from the hard line. Got the new flare nut on the hard line. Got the flaring tool set up. This ain't really too bad if you got the right tools, but Chrysler could have made it a lot easier on the average guy. Thanks, Chrysler. Pretty nice tool. We changed the die. We made the bubble. Now we're gonna make the flare. Just like that. Ready to put her together. Everything's all buttoned up. Locks and unlocks like it's supposed to. I'd say you could do one of these lockers in probably 3 hours, laying on the garage floor. A little bit quicker if you had a lift. And that's if you don't do everything I did and run into the problems that I had. You know, problems with the carrier, having to do the brakes while I had it apart, axle seals, flare the brake lines. I probably got about 7 hours in it. Around there, I'm guessing. You know, had to go to work to my real job and then come back and do this when I had the time. But it didn't turn out too bad, even with the problems. I'm tickled with it. We got a locker for the front. We're gonna wheel it like this for now. I'd say it'll do a lot better. I'm sure I'll still end up putting the one in the front. That'll be in the next video. Until next time.